Hey guys, it's Coach Jimmy. I just wanted to make a quick video about plyometrics. In Malaysia, we did this plyometric routine, my favorite plyometric routine, once a week. And I wanted to share with you guys the exact routine that we did. This routine contains 5 sets of 4 exercises, with each exercise being done twice. Each set is only 5 minutes long, and you get a minute of rest between each set. For the first 3 exercises of each set, you do each of them for 30 seconds. And then the 4th exercise you do for a minute long. You do 2 rounds of that, and that is the entirety of 1 set. Before we get into the details of this first set, I wanted to share one of my 5 top reasons why I like plyometric exercises and workouts for baseball players. Baseball is an explosive sport, and explosive sports aren't about how strong you are. It's more about how fast you can use that strength. Plyometrics train your nervous system to fire quickly, helping you jump higher, sprint faster, and ultimately throw harder. Plyometrics help improve your rate of force development, which is measured in force over time. So if we're trying to optimize or maximize our explosiveness or rate of force of development, we can either A, get stronger, or B, reduce the amount of time that it takes to use our strength. Most guys have the strength part down. They have a lifting schedule, they're nice and big and strong, but oftentimes they don't have part B, which is why I like to have plyometrics in my strength and conditioning plan. The first 3 exercises in the first set are squat jumps, forehand and backhands, and skater jumps. Each of these exercises are done for 30 seconds, and then it'll be repeated for another 30 seconds. The 4th exercise in set 1 is clapjacks. I substituted this in because when we were in Malaysia, we didn't have access to any hurdles. Usually I use a hurdle and kind of swing kick your legs over that hurdle, the side of the hurdle. But instead we did clapjacks, which kind of do the same thing. And that exercise was done for a minute. So to kind of summarize set 1, you're doing 30 seconds of squat jumps, 30 seconds of forehands and backhands, then 30 seconds of skaters, topped off with a minute of clapjacks, repeated twice. There is no rest between the first round and second round within set 1, and it's 5 minutes total. One note on the forehands and backhands. Later on in the workout, there will be other variations of this one. So for this first set, all you're doing is doing 3 little squats, and then you're doing a jump turn to the forehand or the backhand, whatever one is opposite of the one you just did. The next reason out of 5 reasons why I think plyometrics should be a staple in baseball training is because it works your stretch-shortening cycle. Basically, you can think of your body acting like a spring when you're doing these quick jumps. And when you do plyometrics, you're working this spring and working on how efficiently you can transition from loading to unloading. As you do these plyometric exercises, there's an eccentric phase, basically a load phase, where the muscle lengthens under tension, storing energy when you bend your knees during a jump. Then there's a transition phase where you go from loading to unloading. The shorter this phase can be, the more explosive you will be. And then the last phase is your concentric phase, your unloading phase. The muscle shortens, contracts, and releases that stored energy. So for set 2, we have the first 3 exercises: squat jumps, forehands and backhands, both of which are a variation of the ones we did in set 1. And then we have lateral high knees to round that off. The 4th exercise, which we'll do for a minute, are squares. For the forehand and backhands, the difference between set 1 and this set is we're just going and jumping from forehand to backhand without squats in between. For squares, you're setting up 4 cones in a square, and you're going to be facing the same direction at all times. So you get 2 shuffles, 1 to each side, and then you have a sprint and a back pedal. The 3rd reason out of my 5 favorite reasons to do plyometrics as a baseball player is because it increases your athletic reactivity. Sports are reactive, especially in baseball. You don't get 3 seconds to prepare for a pitch and decide whether or not you have to swing. You get less than a second. And then during that second, you have to put in as much force as you can to hit the ball far. Same with pitching. Plyometrics train quick ground contact, deceleration and re-acceleration, and rapid direction changes, which is vital in being an explosive baseball player. This 3rd set ramps things up a little bit. You could kind of consider the first set that we did to be more of a warm-up set. We're not getting off the ground as much as set 2. This 3rd set kind of takes things up a notch. The first 3 exercises that we would do for 30 seconds are tuck jumps, lunge jumps, jumps and leapfrogs. The tuck jumps add an extra layer onto the previous squat jumps. You have to put more force into the ground and be a little bit more explosive to get your knees up, and now we're adding our hip flexors in there as well. With the lunge jumps, now we're taking into account one-legged exercises where there's a mismatch and each leg is doing different things during the exercise. And then rotational twist jumps, now we're adding rotation into a jump. All of this makes set number 3 a bunch more dynamic than sets 1 and 2. This is probably the hardest set, which is good because it's right in the middle. It's kind of like the peak of the entire workout. Once you make it past set 3, you're in the home stretch. You have 2 more sets left. You're over halfway. The 4th reason out of 5 reasons why I like plyometrics in my routine is because they enhance tendon stiffness. And that's a good thing. If you think about a slinky versus a spring, if you compress a slinky, it's not gonna pop out and push outwards very hard. But if you compress a spring and then let go of it, it'll jump out of your hand. The stiffer the spring, the better force transfer you get. Same thing with tendons. The stiffer your tendons are, the better force transfer and more power that you have. For set 4, the first 3 exercises are catcher walks, double broad jumps, and squat jacks. To me, catcher walks are important because you're at the end of the range of motion, you're down in the deepest squat possible, and you're moving and walking forward and then walking backwards. This helps with general flexibility and range of motion. And then we go into double broad jump, which is the same as like regular squat jacks. We're being quick with our feet, but instead of just jumping up and down, we're jumping forward and gaining ground with this exercise. And then we have squat jacks, where again, just like the catcher walks, you're at the depths of your motion and we're working out a specific subset of the range of motion. And then the 4th exercise, which we will do for a minute, is military march. Basically, it's like the toe touch stretch or Frankenstein stretch that you see in a stretch routine, but just standing in one place. This gives a little break for everyone and stretches out your hamstrings and works on your hip flexors at the same time. The last reason why plyometrics is good for baseball, and this reason is my favorite reason, is because it bridges strength to sport. Lifting weights builds force. Plyometrics teach you how to apply that force at game speed. Without that bridge, strength will stay in the weight room. For my personal journey, I was super strong. I was probably one of the strongest guys on my Division III baseball team. But until I did plyometrics, I couldn't really transfer that strength into results on the field. For the 5th and final set, the first 3 exercises are forehands and backhands. You'll do forehands for the first round and then backhands for the second round. And then we have side shuffles, and then we have 45-degree skater jumps. These skater jumps are great because you're doing this forward and backwards, so you're working both ways. And then the last exercise is one-legged hops, 30 seconds on your left leg and then 30 seconds on your right leg to finish out the plyometric routine. For these one-legged hops, you're gonna jump forward, backwards, left and right, kind of like a cross, but you're going around each edge of the cross. You're gonna jump forward, back to the middle, right, back to the middle, backwards, back to the middle, and then left, back to the middle. Here's a screenshot of all the exercises that are within this routine. It has timing of each exercise as well as the sequence and cadence of each exercise. Give about a minute break in between each set and good luck. If you're a baseball player, pitcher, hitter, whatever position, and you don't have plyometrics in your routine, it's time to get plyometrics into your routine. This is just a quick video. You can copy mine, you can make your own, but either way, you need to have plyometrics if you want to get better at baseball and start seeing results. For my guys, the guys that I train, I have this once a week. It's a pretty long workout. It takes about 45 minutes, and doing it once a week pretty much takes up a workout time slot. I think it's super important to be a good baseball player, and I think that you should as well.